have a few things I want to talk about today, and I'm not sure how I'm going to tie them all together, but in the midst of all that, I'm going to create a horse with some flowers. That's all I kind of know right now. Along with that, I do want to talk about this phenomena we have that we get our self-worth from how many likes we get on what we post, or how many people follow us, or a whole host of things we do to try to feel better about what we're doing from the outside in. And it occurred to me the other day that this is simply a case of mistaken identity. We've identified ourselves with what we create. We've identified ourselves with whatever our output is in life. And as we do that, we take someone else's word for whether or not what we've done, what we've created, is good enough. And because we've identified with what we've created, are we good enough? So I just want to talk about that a little bit and dispel that belief. This idea of mistaken identity, I grew up, as many of us have, thinking that what I do is who I am. And this is getting further and further from anything I consider to be true. I still, once in a while, get confused and find myself being caught up in what other people might think. But I don't stick around with that very long. I know that that's just part of what the thinking is that's going through my head. The thought I do really pay attention to are thoughts that are new, thoughts that give me a sense of inspiration, that spark. The rest of them, you can pretty much ignore them. So back to this mistaken identity thing. We are not what we create. Now that may leave some of you feeling like, well then what in the heck am I? I know it left me feeling that way at one point in my life because I didn't realize who I am. I really thought my identity was tied into what I was creating and doing in life. And I've come to know from experience, and we've all had this experience, that who we are is innately creative. We are okay. And we've learned throughout our lives that we somehow have to take our okayness from another person's perspective, that we have to get approval somehow, that we have to do the right thing. We've made all this stuff up around having to get other people's approval to be okay. As a visual artist, I know this is something that I have spent a lot of time in my life being caught up in. How many likes can I get? How many followers can I get? And somehow that makes a difference to who I am. I realize now that I was just having a misunderstanding about who I am. And it was a perfectly innocent misunderstanding. We all really think that's true, that somehow that outside is going to tell us whether we're okay or not. And I think that might be based on the idea that somehow we're not okay to begin with. And that's what I'm here to help dispel in this lifetime. I just know for me, when I'm in a state of believing thoughts that somehow I need to do something and prove something, that I'm just having a case of mistaken identity. I'm really okay already, and so are you. Likes are really nice, they're like icing on the cake, but the cake itself, we're okay. We're the cake. I think it's time to create this horse with flowers, and I'll turn on my camera and I'll be right back with you. I just went through a whole painting of this horse and realized after I was done that the camera had turned off. This is not the first time this has happened. I'm not going to cut this piece out because I think it's really important to realize that even when things don't go as planned, I still really had a good time painting this horse. It went through all kinds of phases where it looked to me to be more of a giraffe than a horse, and I just kept going. So I'm going to show you the picture. So I used some washi tape on this painting. The reason I like using washi tape is because it's precise in its patterns, some of the patterns. They also have solids, but you can put the washi tape down on your surface. You can either start with washi tape, make the washi tape the whole thing, or use it on top of a watercolor or some other kind of drawing. And I put the washi tape down, and then I cut out around the shape that I want. So that's how I got this right here. This is 2 strips of washi tape that I took a knife and cut the shape out. So as a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and show you. So I'm going to use some orange. It's like a paper tape, mixing it up. And I went back to the yellow. That's a nice dark yellow, so it shows up just fine. Being very careful, I take my X-Acto blade and I'm going to cut around and leave the shape that I want. That's part of the fun. You don't really have a lot of control over what you're doing unless you possibly draw it first. So then I pull off the parts that I do not want to keep. And there you have it, the start of a flower. And you can go anywhere with this. You can use more washi tape to finish this flower off. You can go directly to pen. And then you can go back in and add some watercolor if you want. Varying your shape is really important while you're creating. It's not a must, but it makes the composition a little more exciting. I'm intentionally not staying in the lines when I paint back in because the lines are there to designate a shape, and I can make other shapes with just solid color. So there's really no need to be redundant with your line work and your shapes. You could do one or the other, and for me that feels a little bit less like a coloring book. I'm going to call this done. I had fun making this art. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Tried for one horse with flowers and ended up with a finished horse with flowers and a crazy floral thing with a bird and a bee. I always love to hear from you guys, so I'd love to know if you enjoyed this video or if you have any questions or something you'd like for me to talk about in the future. Please comment below. If you like the video, hit the like button, even though it doesn't matter to my well-being, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And I hope to see you soon. Happy creating.